There are a number of considerations that need to be made when someone living with progressive MS is deciding whether or not they should be or could be working. Returning to help us understand the opportunities and challenges associated with deciding whether or not to work is the EMSP's Emma Rogan. Please join me in welcoming Emma Rogan to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I work on campaigns and external affairs and young people's outreach in EMSP. I have also been very involved in our campaigns and our projects around work and people with MS. This morning, this session is all about work. It's all about having it. It's about losing it. And it's also about how people with MS are forced to deal with the changes with regards their employment and with regards work. And I'll give a short presentation on the work that EMSP has been doing, as well as the different issues that people with MS are facing. And then we're going to have a discussion with a number of people with MS and an employer. I suppose really as we're in this COVID time, I would like us to consider the challenges all of us have dealt with and all of us have been confronted with over the last number of months. It is not something any of us ever planned, nor intended, nor thought we'd have to face. So these challenges are some things that people with MS, and in particular people with progressive MS, have to deal with every day. We're also going to take a look at the opportunities that people can have. When it comes to work, and this is something that is particularly of concern to me when I consider at the stage of life people are being diagnosed, poverty is a real problem when you're not working. And it's a real issue that people are not always comfortable discussing. And it's something that I would like us to really keep in mind. Work is all about being in contact as well as our financial state. So work, as the International Labour Organization, as it says here, access to decent work has an impact on social inclusion as well as marginalization of people with MS. So it's really a broader topic. People with health issues are most likely to experience relative income poverty, and it means that their disposable income is about 12% or even as much as 30% less than average. And the loss globally for people with disabilities is about 1.95 trillion, which is a massive amount of money. I can't even begin to imagine that sum of money. Closer to home in Europe, the overall cost of MS is currently 15 billion, with 5 billion in particular in loss of productivity. And numbers may have gone up or gone down in the last number of years. In particular now, in COVID times, it will be interesting to see the data that comes out of this when we do more analysis in the coming months. The impact of the current crisis is not only on people with progressive MS, it's on all of society. That's why we are all at home in our work environment or in our home environment, looking at a computer screen as opposed to being together for this conference. But also our well-being is being impacted. And for many people with MS and people particularly in difficult situations, in extremely difficult situations, things are getting worse, despite what our member societies are doing and despite what our state services are providing. People with MS want to work. People who are, I suppose, when it comes to their ability and depending on their symptoms, during an economic downturn, as well as having illness, you know, these two issues make people extremely vulnerable. And many employers lack knowledge and don't always understand the needs of employees with MS. And I think later on, in our discussion with the employer, we will be hearing some interesting information about how the pandemic has impacted their work. As I said, access to decent work that fits for the individual, it's not only about their financial affairs, it's about their social outreach. And as Dr. Garcia Vaz spoke earlier, it's also about their identity and how our identities are wrapped up in our professional life. Work is a place to connect with others. It's a place where an individual uses their skills and abilities, and it's a space where people collaborate. I am just trying to move to the next slide. This is a summary of all the different projects that EMSP has created over the years, and it is all around it's all about work, it's all about employment, and it's all about that. I suppose it's a basket of things that employment offers. It's not limited to finance, but it also is the social connection, social cohesion. It's about the individual and how they're contributing their skills and their abilities to their workplace, to their organization, or to their business. And I really want us to all consider that this is something that we are all geared for from the very start. When we go to school, our parents or whoever we grew up with, it's all about preparing for life and preparing for work. We are learning and we are developing our skills in preparation for the workplace. And then, perhaps in the prime of your life, in your 20s, or even younger if you're diagnosed with pediatric MS, or later on when your career is well established, you are told you have MS, or you're told you have progressive MS. And people are confronted with things that they never imagined they had to deal with. And whilst people learn to adapt, and we heard yesterday from Alexis about how he has adapted in his workplace, people are also confronted with having to adapt their expectations and adapt their circumstances depending on what's going on with their symptoms and depending on what's going on with the level of disability in terms of their MS. So I think that the lack of employment opportunities in COVID times are, whilst they are measurable in terms of our statistics, the impact of society for a person with MS is going to be felt long term in the next 20 and 30 years. And we really need to be sure as organizations that we have measured and we're able to communicate the issues. And somebody spoke earlier about the MS barometer. It is a very useful tool for EMSP and for our member organizations to show to those providers the issues that people with MS are facing, but also how to fill in the gaps and how to support people in the years to come. It's one of our missions in EMSP to dismantle the barriers through lobbying, whether it's raising the issues in the barometer, but it's also about creating these different projects, as you can see here on the screen, from the Believe and Achieve. We've created some leaflets about working out MS, ready for work, and also a practical toolkit for employers. And all of these resources are available on the EMSP website, but we had also created a website specifically around the issue of MS and work. So please, I encourage you all to go to that resource hub and take a look at some of our resources. COVID-19 is creating particular challenges for all of us, but we still have to keep our eye on the ball with regards to work and people with MS, and especially people with progressive MS, given that this is what we are all here for, understanding the impact of progressive MS on a person's life. And now is really not the time to step back. As a community, we need to support people with MS to look for other ways to deal with what the challenges that they're facing, and also innovative ways to look at staying professionally active and to stay financially independent. Supporting people in work is, and supporting people to have the tools to get back to work is all of our business. And now I'm going to welcome to the floor. I'm still getting used to this online format. I would really like to welcome our three panelists. They are from a range of backgrounds and different countries and experiences, and it's going to be a very, let's see how it goes. Let's have a chat and learn about their experiences, as well as some good ideas for how we can really consider work and MS. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time and joining our discussion this morning. I'd really like to start by welcoming you all. You're very welcome to this discussion. I would like to start with Ms. Kozak, please. Aleksandra Kozak. If you could please introduce yourself and let us know where you are, I suppose what you work at, if you are working, and why you're here today with us.
So, hello everyone, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to put my makeup on for the first time since March. It's a big day for me. My name is Aleksandra, but everyone calls me also Alex. I am Polish. I am 29 years old. Currently, I am in Luxembourg because I'm about to. I semi-moved to Luxembourg, but I lived in Brussels for over 4 years, where I moved from Poland. I work now in the EU affairs, so in an association that represents American movie industry. And why am I here? I'm here because for me it's extremely important to ensure access to quality work. It's very important to be a quality work and education for people with MS and any type of disability. And I saw a lot, and I will be very happy to share with my experiences, which are sometimes sad, sometimes better.
Wonderful, thank you very much. And we're also joined by Ms. Simone Benito. If you would like to introduce yourself, please. Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
Okay, good morning, everybody. And first of all, congratulations for this initiative, this open window to share experience, opinions, feelings. My name is Mercedes Simon. I work as a finance manager in a pharmaceutical company, Laboratorio STADA, that is located in Barcelona, in Spain. And we are, our activity is the promotion of generics products and also OTC. Our connection with MS arises 5 years ago when a colleague from finance department was diagnosed with the illness. At this moment, we start to be in touch with this situation.
Wonderful, thank you very much, and you're very welcome. We're really thrilled to have you here, really happy to have you here. And finally, Mr. Santamarta-Barral, please would you introduce yourself? Some of us saw you yesterday, but I would like for people who are not familiar with you, please would you introduce yourself and let us know who you are and why you're here.
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Jacobo Santamarta-Barral, as you said. I'm from Spain. I have a MS, and at the moment I'm a pensionist. I am not working any longer. I used to work, but I cannot work any longer. So I am not working, which doesn't mean I am completely out of activity. I'm trying to, do things. I don't know, like charity work or whatever, and trying to help others, especially people with MS, and trying to deal with everything that they have problems with.
Thank you, Jacobo. Thank you, everyone. You're all very welcome. And Jacobo, you kind of got us started there. One of my questions is, in your experience, how has work impacted your life, or how finishing work? How have you dealt with that transition, Jacobo?
Well, I have to say, as you said earlier, Emma, it is really important with what Carolina Garcia Abad was saying before, that work really it's important for a person with MS, because that person is going to feel relevant, is going to be is going to socialize, is going to communicate with people and everything. So when I got my job, I was really happy, and when I had to leave it, I was really devastated. I was like, because it was not okay. I have to leave my job. I got the news that I could not work in anything any longer. So it was a little bit like, okay, so that means that I have to be just sitting at home doing nothing for, like, I'm 35 years old now. So that means that I have to be like for 30 or 40 years doing nothing at all. I mean, of course, I'm going to find other things to do, but you just told me that I'm not going to do anything. So that was quite devastating for me. So I think it's important for a person, especially with for someone with MS, to have a job and to work and to do something.
Yeah, and just thank you for sharing that. It is that transition and those difficult challenges that people face, that they never expected to have to deal with. And Alex, would you like to share a little bit about? Tell me a little bit about, when you're at work, how MS is impacting your life, your work life, and how does your employer support you in the workplace?
It's quite a difficult question, actually, because my MS, unfortunately, my MS became visible. So I've been diagnosed in 2013, and it's been 7 years now. And around 2016, my MS started being visible. I started experiencing foot drop, which was getting worse and worse. I have problems walking. I currently walk with a cane, which is pink, which is very important. It has to be a pink cane.
Pink is very important.
Pink is very, very important. I mean, if I'm gonna have a cane, it has to be pink, right? I'm very, very tired. And at around 4 p.m. when I start at 9 a.m. my work, at 4 p.m. I'm done. Which is sometimes very, very difficult, because my work very often requires me to type a lot and follow, for example, committee meetings in the European Parliament, which last till, for example, 6 p.m. So this is very, very difficult. My problem and a good thing about me is that I'm extremely stubborn. I'm very, very stubborn. My parents hate that about me, but I think it helped me a lot. So I don't give up. I don't want to give up. However, I see my limits, which is very, very difficult nowadays because our generation, I don't know, are we X, Y, or Generation Z? One of these letters. Our generation is a very, very competitive generation. Brussels is a very, very competitive place. Also Warsaw, I studied in Warsaw law. I wanted to be a lawyer, and it became very, very difficult and horrible when I graduated. So this is very difficult because MS people, me, including me, so I'm talking about myself, very often I don't feel worthy enough because I'm disabled and I'm tired and I cannot do stuff as fast as other people my age, and this really, really hurts me. So I think it's extremely important to just really try to focus on yourself and tell yourself, hey, listen, you live with MS. I mean, all these people around you, they wouldn't be able to survive one day. So really, bravo. My employer, sorry.
That's okay. Though I think your stubbornness and your determination are really what I'm hearing above everything. But as you said, it is the changes, and it's trying to deal with those changes in a way that is healthy for you, and a way that is also I don't know, you're finding the good things in your day-to-day life, and also finding ways for you to manage well in your day-to-day life. Mercedes, I'd really like if you came in here, please, as an employer with experience working with a person with MS. And I know, of course, everyone with MS is different, but I'd really like if you could share with us a little bit about the solutions around if there were any challenges for your colleague, and how you supported them.
Well, the challenge in our experience has been not only for our colleague, also for the organization. We didn't have any experience, and the first impact when you know that someone has it, and you think, as Jacobo has mentioned, that they cannot work, that they cannot do anything, that perhaps it's much better to be at home. But when you realize that the person wants to follow working, the first thing, and for me it's the most important, because after that all the solutions will come, is to have the open mind to find the flexible solutions for what life is coming. Alex was saying us that she has found that she had to be focused on her and not what was happening to the others. In our case, what we fixed and focused was the day by day to see what was happening, what was needed, and try to find in our organization how we could solve the specific situation. Along these 5 years, we have done some changes, but the changes have been possible due to this open mind and flexible way of thinking, and trying to find a solution outside the standard way of doing things. That's sometimes is the most difficult. And I have to say this is something that we have to apply not only with MS people, or because everyone can find in their lives some situation that it's not the standard that the organization has usually to make easier the work in the organization. But if we talk at the end, what we have done really was what we have needed is to find a place more silent, not so many voices and so on, to facilitate the concentration of this person. If we have had to change any kind of process of software, we have done with more time, not so quicker that perhaps with the others, or trying that the changes were not so important for this person and making it easier. But at the end, what we have is a person that is collaborating, that is contributing in our daily job, and we will see in future what happens. If this person, the MS is progressive, we will see how it finishes.
Thank you for that. I think that I was furiously making notes whilst everyone was speaking, but from everyone, it is really that we as people, I also have MS, but that we as people with MS keep an open mind, and also that our employers and our bosses, when we choose to disclose that we have MS, or if we have to disclose that we have MS, that we are very much open-minded and solution-focused, that when we are dealing with some of the changes in our in abilities or changes in our symptoms, that we are looking at solutions and how we can deal with them together. I suppose with COVID, did having those changes, Mercedes, to have to implement those changes, were you better prepared for COVID, out of interest?
Well, it has been quite curious because at the moment Spain was confined in March. We started to talk with this colleague 1 month before how we can handle another time dedication, because she was tired, as Alex has mentioned. We had proposed and we were working how she could work at home, and for this person and for the organization it was complicated to think of that. 1 month later, the COVID makes that everybody was at home working. And now what I see, it seems that in Catalonia it will be restarted to open next week and people will start to come back, but perhaps this person could follow working at home. And in that case, we can say that it has been a benefit of Corona crisis.
It's extraordinary. It's really extraordinary how work from home has become something that's doable, whereas in the past, perhaps people with progressive MS have been told that it isn't possible to make these adaptations, whereas now when everyone's doing it, it has become possible. This is a question for Alex and Jacobo. And, you know, when you consider your university and your schooling and your personal ambitions, you know, how have you changed them to something different, or have you changed them to something different? And you know, what do you see as the main issue for people with MS and people with progressive MS when it comes to employment? So, whoever is comfortable to start.
Alex?
Jacobo, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sure. I was diagnosed in 2007, and that was in my 4th year of my degree. I also studied law, the same as Alex, and which was more difficult for me was keep going to class, because you know, I started right away with my treatment, which was I don't remember now. I don't remember, and that made me really tired, and it was really challenging. But as Alex said, I am really stubborn, and I was like, okay, I have this, but this is not going to stop me. I'm just going to go forward. I started the degree, I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to, you know, try to do a normal life. I didn't know what I know now, so whatever has to happen. I don't know. So I kept going, and I tried to have a, I don't know, a normal life. So
Thank you for that. Sorry
yeah,
to Jacobo.
no, it's okay,
We're
okay.
going to have to go to. We'll go back to John. We're going to do the Q&A. It's interesting that I wonder, were we stubborn before MS or stubborn after MS, or does MS diagnosis give an extra dose of determination? And I know that's not, and I think it's up and down. I do think it's up and down. Thank you all for taking part in this discussion. I'd like you all to stay here. We're going to go back to John. Thank you very much, John.
Well, thank you very much, Emma. Got a question. Someone's wondering, when MS symptoms are not visible, do you think it's better to disclose your MS to your employer or not?
Who's going to take that one?
I can take that one.
Thank you, Alex.
One. I was not disclosing it because the truth is that especially the private sector is not prepared for this. Even the Polish, from my experience, Polish health sector is not prepared for this. And I've been told myself when I got a traineeship in the European Commission, I've been told by a representative of the health sector that they've never heard of a disabled people going abroad to do a traineeship. So if it's not visible and you can handle it, do not disclose. I'm sorry to say that. Better not to disclose. If it's visible, I don't have a problem with this myself, but it also took me some time. If my employer doesn't want to accept my illness or puts me on a position where I only stamp envelopes because I have MS, even though I'm a lawyer, I'm going to change an employer, and I'm going to look as long as needed just to find an employer that will give me what I need.
Well, thank you. I have a question for you, Emma. In the beginning of your presentation, you not only talked about the obvious financial benefits of working, you also talked about how important the social benefits were. And I'm wondering whether you think that someone who is not able to continue in the workforce might be able to recapture some of those social benefits associated with work through volunteering.
Thank you for the question. I think it's volunteering. It's to establish a new habit or establish a new way to connect with people. So definitely volunteering is a way to do that. And also I would encourage people to consider their interests, what they're really interested in. If you think about what you would love to do and really go for that, because it is about nourishing yourself and making the most of your life, and whether it's volunteering or in work. But back to the question, I think definitely volunteering, and now with COVID, there are other ways to connect with people online, so I would encourage that person to do that as well.
We heard just a moment ago how, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen that working from home can actually perhaps open new opportunities for people who may need so much accommodation at the office that it's easier to do their work at home. Do you think that's a trend in employment that's going to continue after we're past the pandemic? Do you suppose working from home, business meetings over Zoom, and things like this are now going to be a part of everyday work life? And if it is, does that mean more opportunity, perhaps, for people who are very challenged being part of the regular office or business workforce?
Well, I take the question from my side. What I see, and I see not only in my company, in other organizations, is that the corona has forced the organizations to take a decision that was already on the table, not only for MS people, for all the employees, see how we can combine to get this flexibility that we need for different reasons. And corona has forced to take these decisions. I think that what I have seen in the period that it seems that it has decreased the corona is that we tried to recover the previous situations where we were in the office. For sure that it will increase, at least organizations will start to have a percentage of time at home. We will not come back to the, in our case, to the before Corona, where it was not possible of doing that. And for sure that for those people that have any special situation that needs that, at least in our case, it will be a possibility. And I suppose that more organizations will face in the same way, because really the work is the business is working, and if it's needed, why not?
Well, thank you. I have another, actually, someone made a comment, and I think it's an interesting one to discuss for a moment. They said they didn't realize how tired they were feeling coming home from work each day until they stopped going into work. Their quality of life, I'm quoting now, improved dramatically. So I'm wondering if sometimes the decision not to work can actually be a boost to someone's overall well being and quality of life.
I'm going to take that question. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I would say sometimes you would need that tiredness to be transformed into, I would call it stamina to keep going, I would say. So you need every day to have a little challenge, as long as it's not a really, really huge or hard challenge to take, to make you go every day to work, and because you're going to communicate. If you stay at home every day, you may have a better quality of life, but it's not going to hurt you that much to go to work every day and to see other people and to communicate with others and to have a good relationship with other people, I would say.
Thank you. You know, just a moment ago, we were talking a bit about whether to disclose or not disclose, and what the benefits or the not so beneficial aspects of that might be. Here's a slightly different situation. What if you are the carer for a partner who has progressive MS and they require transportation to multiple appointments, physical therapy, rehabilitation, the neurologist, etc. As the carer, do you disclose to your employer what your partner's condition is, so and explain that means you're going to be leaving work to get them to these various appointments? And if you do that, does that work against you at your job?
Shall I take that? Or John, I think, could you help me with this question? It depends on where you're living, in terms of the social supports around you and what country you're in. It also depends on your employer, because some employers do provide, with their insurance, there is going to be some funds available to you as a carer. So you're able to be supported in the work that in the double jobbing that you're doing. But depends on the circumstances, and it's something you need to speak to. I would encourage the person to reach out to their national healthcare system and the social services, and also their national and local MS society, because that level of work is huge, and I for carers it's a huge amount of work to do, as well as your job, as well as your paid work.
And as it turns out, there are occasions where there are very subtle but very serious consequences to disclosing you're a carer. You may still come to work every day, but you may not get that next promotion because a supervisor may feel that you are dealing with so much responsibility already that they're hesitant to move you into a position of more responsibility to add to your burden. And so you miss the promotion, which means you miss the raise, which is a very subtle form of financial consequence to that action. So it gets tricky sometimes, doesn't it?
It really does, and it's something for everyone. I think it's, that's why we speak about the MS community, because it impacts MS, progressive MS impacts the person, but the repercussions for their partner, if they have one, for their family are huge. The repercussions are huge. So it's really about connecting with your local MS society and equipping yourself with as much information as possible. And as John said, disclosure can be dangerous in terms of career progression and financial implications.
Well, thank you again. Yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to add also something from my perspective, because my boyfriend who's sitting here, he's looking at me because we are in a similar problem, because very often he was walking me to work, he walks me to places, it's easier for me to walk with him in the cane. And we had this discussion many times, because it would have been much easier for him to tell his boss that, yeah, sorry, my girlfriend has multiple sclerosis, she has troubles to walk herself, but I always tell him not to, and I always feel very guilty. And we're all 30, we're both 30 years old, so we're young people, we're just starting actually our careers, especially him. And what I do, unfortunately, the thing with the mess is that if you are about to rely on someone, better rely on yourself. So what I do a research online myself, and I did find in Brussels, when I lived in Brussels, there is the public transport company offers transport also for disabled people. It costs a bit of money, but it's being reimbursed. So if you arrange it, you can handle it yourself, but also feel secure because there is someone who can help you when your partner cannot necessarily go, or it's better for him to be at work. It's totally understandable, and it's difficult for both parties because he doesn't want to leave me in need, and I don't want him to feel that his main job is to be my carer.
I understand that very well. Well, again, I want to thank each of you for contributing to a very lively, very important conversation. Thank you, Emma, Aleksandra, Jacobo, and Mercedes.
Thank you.
Well, we've shared an amazing 2 days. Yesterday, we heard about what I'll call the big picture issues: progressive MS research, rehabilitation, and aging. And today, our presenters really drilled down to the real world challenges of living with and managing progressive MS, accessing healthcare, managing mood, and dealing with employment issues. I think for myself, I came away from yesterday's presentations feeling tremendously encouraged by the real progress being made by Professor Quintana's research team. And it was gratifying to hear that this team is made up of scientists in a number of different countries, because People living with progressive MS don't care where the next treatment or even the cure for progressive MS comes from. They just want it to happen. And the International Progressive MS Alliance's global approach to solving progressive MS perfectly reflects that desire. I was also inspired by Alexis Donnelly's reminder that keeping a positive mindset was so important to maintaining his well-being. 30 years ago, when Alexis was diagnosed with progressive MS, there were no disease-modifying therapies at all, and I just find his resilience admirable. Listening to today's presentations, I thought Professor Garcia Vaz shared an important insight when she said that living well with progressive MS means being resilient, while reminding us that resilience is something that each of us can develop. And the discussion that we just heard about employment issues is so important. After all, it directly relates to financial security, and it can really feel overwhelming to try and manage progressive MS as you're facing financial insecurity. Before we close things out, I want to introduce you to someone whose work we've all enjoyed seeing over the past 2 days, and that's our cartoonist, Chrissy Curtin. Chrissy, we've been admiring your illustrations over the course of the conference, and you've done just an outstanding job illustrating our time together. Thank you so much for sharing your talent with us. I want to remind everyone that you can make a donation to EMSP directly from the conference platform. I also want to remind you that if you're between the ages of 18 and 40, please be sure that you're registered to attend this afternoon's special session. It's dedicated to addressing the concerns of young people with MS, and Professor Garcia Vaz is going to work with you on managing your mental health, emotional health as you manage your MS. And I want to thank the European MS platform for allowing me to be a part of a conference that was very special for me. My wife lived with progressive MS for 23 years, so I've had a front row seat experiencing all the ways that progressive MS can impact a family. Being a part of an event that's been especially designed to broaden our understanding of progressive MS has meant a lot to me. It's been a pleasure being with all of you over the past 2 days. And now to share his thoughts on the conference, please join me in welcoming back the president of the European MS platform, Pedro Carrascal.
Hi everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you, John, for the introduction and your notes and thoughts about these 2 great days. For me, it has been also a great pleasure to have you on board moderating this great first ever virtual MS conference. Your personal implication on the MS, the understanding you have, and the way you facilitate this has been a great pleasure. Thank you for your contribution. So this MS annual conference, this virtual annual conference is coming to an end. Although this is disappointing not to be together during these 2 days, I have been excited with the participation of such a great number of people, over 500. I don't know if 600 we were also passed. So I have felt the presence, the people close, the Zoom meetings and the chat, the Slido also comments has been making easier to us to be connected during these 2 days. So this feeling of the solidarity during these difficult times, I think, has been transmitted successfully during these 2 days. We have a great network or a great community of people with MS family members, MS societies, and others around this great movement. Yesterday, we kick off the event Understanding Progressive MS with the powerful testimonies of people affected by MS. For example, a sentence of statements like, an MS diagnosis is not the end of life. They were impactful. With appropriate adjustments and support, this can lead to a fulfilling life, was said. For example, Professor Martin Torre presented the highlights from the ECTRINS Congress, also virtual this year. Everything has become virtual this year. Progressive MS starts before it's even diagnosed. Therefore, timely diagnosis and treatment is key. This was important to say. Thanks to the Progressive MS Alliance also was said that the numbers of the treatments in the pipeline are increasing. With the COVID-19 actively spreading, special attention should be given to adverse events and risk of infection. And there are also neuroprotective drugs in the pipeline that we hope will bring better news, was said by Martin Torre. Treating progressive MS includes also rehabilitation and services. This is very important also for the MS societies who are running these services most of the times in some countries around Europe. And effective treatment are improving lifestyles, such as having healthy diet and good sleep, help maintain brain reserves, also important. About Professor Quintana, he explained that the research has started to identify about 7 unknown subsets of astrocytes. This was probably quite complex for some of us to understand, but the knowledge he showed us was impressive also. I will try to sum up this easy sentence and things about his presentation. Research into cells can then help us understand what makes them pathogenic. By looking into astrocytes, it may be possible to repurpose a drug to treat MS. This is so important. New drugs should be needed for treating progressive MS form. What about Professor Montalban? He addresses the topic of aging with MS. Many issues are similar to the people aging without MS. For example, depression, fatigue, cognition issues, independence, and economic problems are of importance. The evidence of efficacy of disease-modifying drugs is scarce due to the fact that older people are not in clinical trials and because of comorbidities. And exercise and lifestyle modification are important to improve the quality of life. Again, quality of life is so important, and being healthy so important for this. For the people with MS. About Professor Kos from RIMS reminded us that the multidisciplinary approach is needed for better MS management. Disparities across Europe in terms of affordability, availability of a care center, physical accessibility are important and should be addressed. The rehabilitation service could support also an improvement of this accessibility for people affected for progressive MS. Not only around Europe, there are huge disparities in the accessibility of this kind of treatments also and rehabilitation, but also inside the countries, sometimes we can also see these disparities also. And Alexis was so inspiring. Alexis Donnelly gave an inspiring motivational speech. Living with a condition like progressive MS requires to build a strong mental resilience. It's a learning process to readjust your life to the situation. The most important is not to give up and keep at it. This was yesterday, and today, this morning, we addressed the challenges faced by people in terms of access to appropriate healthcare across Europe. And it is clear that there is still a lot of work to done to enable all people to get the right care. We need to keep learning from experience and best practice for different countries. MS centers advocate for health systems to reform themselves. And we also touch upon this important question, to work or not to work, and disclose or not disclose, like in the last panel, for example, about the MS. It is something a person affected by progressive MS should think about. We hope, closing up and making these last comments, we hope that these sessions brought another perspective on the way you are facing life for people affected by progressive MS, that the healthcare professionals are taking back the key message and will reflect on those in their practice afterwards, that the representative of the industry will keep working not only for, but also with the patients to develop the treatments they need. And last but not least, that the decision makers will listen to our voice, the voices of the people with MS who represent and work with us to bring change in our health and social care system for a better future that is needed. If you like this first ever EMSP Digital Conference and would like to support us, you can also do this, and don't hesitate to donate through our digital platform that is available. And we hope you will all remain safe and sound during this pandemic. This is still with us, and we hope to see the end as soon as possible. It is important that we keep our attention in those who need it the most and support them in the best way we can. And we also give thanks for the invaluable contribution of our supporters, of course, speakers. Thank you very much, friends and people with MS who have worked alongside EMSP over the years and whose work led us to this conference. I would like to take this moment to thank those who helped put together this great event. John, I gave the thanks before, but John Stram, our moderator, who kept this conference going and interactive. Thank you. Chrissy Cartin, the artist who accompanied us during the whole conference and translated very complex issues into Darwin's. Well done. Julian Hall, who has been summarizing the sessions for the report. Thank you, Salman Production and their team for coordinating the backstage and ensuring a smooth transition for EMSP First Ever Digital Conference. That was new for all of us. Our sponsors, Biogen, Bristol Myers Squibb, Icometrics, Merck, Novartis, and Roche, who provided financial support for this event. Of course, also to EMSP Conference Committee members for organizing such an inspiring program, and the Executive Committee members for hosting informal meetups. Our conference organizers from downtown Europe, and especially Elena Ciudad. And last but not least, MS Secretariat, the staff, for the dedicated and professional commitment to deliver year after year an event that brings our European community, MS community, together. Always, I was talking with Elizabeth yesterday evening after the first day of the meeting. Yesterday, this conference, this ANAT conference, brings me very good vibes and this emotional implication of being and seeing the community around the meeting and being together. And also this year, in this context and virtually, has also excited and reconfort also me. We are very much looking forward to welcome to our conference in June 2021. We expect to see all of you there. And nothing else to add. I can see now the slides till next time with the faces of the speakers and all the people participating. Thank you very much, also Chrissy, for this, and thank you for being here, for dedicating your time to this conference. Thank you very much. Bye.